welcome to episode 28 of the Jez and Friends podcast. Today's special guest of the podcast is Antony Keely. How's it going, mate?
I'm much better for being here, Jerry. Thanks for having me, mate.
That's all right. We're going to be covering many topics, including obviously you've worked at Mac. We've probably briefly met when I was in like year seven or something. The Resilience Project because I love the work they do. Sports because I know we both love our sports, and some funny stories. Now let's get started. Um, so obviously congrats on the birth of your first child. Um, so is it a boy or a girl, and what did you name your firstborn?
Yes, thank you, mate. It's a very exciting time. It's very different. She was born on the 30th of December, so I spent New Year's in the Royal Women's Hospital, and I had Maeve. So we've called our daughter Maeve Keely, and I on New Year's Eve we were still in hospital, and I was looking out one of the windows on the Westgate Bridge, just trying to stop her from crying. So that was my New Year's this year. It was very very exciting. Um, but yeah, no, it's a wonderful thing. It's a wonderful thing. But we're on a very steep learning curve, as I've mentioned to you before. We're
Yeah.
um, in over our head a little bit, I reckon.
Yep. So
Need some good babysitters, actually, Jez.
no, might have to babysit or something. I don't know, but so correct me if I'm wrong. You just woke up like what 20 minutes ago?
Yeah, I had a few meetings early for work, and then I've snuck home to try and help out a little bit. But I just yeah yeah you caught me. I had a little sleep on the couch for about half an hour just before to try and give myself a bit of energy to come on your show. So yeah, I woke up about 15 minutes ago. So and if I look like garbage, that's precisely why, because I just woke up.
Fair enough, mate. That's all right. So this is a segment I do with a few like just the first question really. It's called hypotheticals. So, what futuristic thing from a sci-fi movie or book do you really wish existed right now? Could be anything, mate.
Oh, I loved Star Wars when I was younger. So I'd love to. Is it the Death Star? The ship that they. What's the name of their ship? I think it's the Death Star
Yeah, I
something or
think it
other.
is. I've got no idea,
Um,
but yeah.
we'll go with that then. Or even one of Anakin Skywalker used to drive race those. They're like go karts except they're hovercrafts. Um, so I'd love to own one of them, or even a lightsaber. Although it's a
Yeah,
bit
those are.
dangerous and
Oh yeah.
and not that that would help anyone in any way, but
Just like some
I don't know.
fun.
Yeah, just for some
Yeah.
fun. That's correct.
We love having fun. So we love music on the podcast, mate. Everyone has a different taste, I suppose. So, what type of music or artist do you listen to?
I'm a bit of a jack of all trades. I'm not too picky. I file I'm a Spotify man, and I file my music into sort of ways I want to feel. So if I'm looking to just be relaxed and working, I have a lot of sort of folk and like acoustic type of music. But I have a few other playlists if I'm looking to summon some positive energy. I've got listened to a bit of like disco music from back in the 70s and 80s.
Oh yeah.
Um, but yeah, which is a bit random, I know, and does my wife's head in. Um, but yeah, I'm mostly at the moment with the young baby around. It's a lot of very sort of indie folk music, which is yeah, lots of guitar and acoustic type um, singer songwriters.
Yeah, it's great. Like, so would indie mean like Riptide and those types of music, songs? You know
Yeah,
what
yep,
Riptide?
that's
Yeah.
definitely one of them. I do like Vance Joy. Yeah, that kind of music. I actually don't even know what
Yeah.
I think indie just me. I don't really know. I know that it relates to that type of music, but I don't really know what it means. So
Yeah. Fair
I'd
enough.
say acoustic and folk music. So it's even a little bit country and western at times. So
Yeah, it seems like pretty relaxing music, and
yeah,
yeah, it's alright.
try and put me in a good frame of mind.
Yeah, that's true. So tell us about your experiences working at Mac, which is where we briefly met and where I still go to now.
Yeah, I loved my time at Mac. I I'd still be there if it wasn't for a really good opportunity that popped up. But yeah, Mac's a terrific place. There was a lot of wonderful people there, and people I still catch up with. And I know Emma's been on your podcast, and I see her every now and again because our work sort of crosses over sometimes. But I still catch up with a lot of the students I used to teach as well, which is awesome. I love it. I love it, and I get random text messages every now and again asking for to be a reference on a job application or for some advice about whatever. And yeah, I love it. I think for most teachers, they get into the job to try and build relationships and positively impact young people. So when young people come and ask you for help because they trust you, it's a very, very nice feeling. So yeah, I love my time at Mac, and I sort of mean to duck in there every now and again, but I find myself a little bit time poor at the moment.
Yeah, that's fair enough as well.
It's changed a bit, I gather, Jerry, over the last couple of years.
Yeah, mate. There's portables now, so the school's a lot smaller, and it's growing as well. So yeah, it's pretty amazing.
How many students has it got now?
So around 600 for this year, I reckon.
Oh
Yeah,
wow,
it's grown a fair bit since I was in year seven.
that's all. I
Yeah,
reckon when you were in year seven, I reckon it had maybe 400 is my memory. So that's
yeah,
massive.
just about. Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, and
But no, it's a good school, mate. It's a very good school.
yeah, amazing school. So I know your house was Apollo back in the day. I'm pretty sure you were.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Um, Probably since you left, they've slacked off a bit. Been shocking in the leaderboard. So I'm in Poseidon. We kill it every year anyway. So does Athena. So have you got like any messages or something, wisdom or something for Apollo? Because they're
Wisdom.
not going well at the moment.
I'd love to say though we were good at something when I was there. I'm not sure we were though. I thought we always finished last every time. Um, who's is it Sophie Dalabiris who's still the head of
Yeah,
Poseidon?
Poseidon. Yeah,
Oh my, how do I remember some of this stuff? And is Matt Kilfoyle still the head of
Artemis. Yeah.
Artemis? And who's head of Athena?
Mr. Ben now, so he does like the PE type stuff. Yeah.
Oh, I know, but yeah, he took my job. Yeah, or he replaced me
Yeah.
when I left. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Oh, mate, that's awesome. Words of wisdom. I don't know if I do have any words of who's the head of Apollo now? Is it still Mr. Sosnowski?
Yeah, yeah. Conrad, yeah.
Um, he's a legend, Mr. Sosnowski. So they got a good person in charge. So I'd defer to him. I'd ask him for advice because he was far better at being head of house than I ever was. I can assure
Yeah.
you.
Well, they need to, yeah, get back up there, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, at least I know it wasn't just me. They've been cellar dwellers the whole time.
Yeah, true. Hopefully, Apollo can challenge for a title or something this year, maybe.
That would be nice. I might try and pop into Mac and try and distract Miss Dalabiris or someone like that to try and give Apollo a chance. Just give him a fighting chance.
Yeah, maybe pop by like athletics or something. Just, yeah. So anyway, obviously you've been through the high school experience and also taught at high school. Do you have any like lessons or advice for those maybe currently in high school or going through it right now?
Oh, I don't know if they're lessons or advice. I think the biggest thing I learned from going from being a student to being a teacher is you quickly understand that your study is really important, and it teaches you great lessons about hard work and the things that you can achieve if you apply yourself and work hard. But at the same time, I'm I probably look at the system and how we're very driven to ATAR scores and getting
Yeah.
the highest ATAR score possible. And with a bit more, being a bit older and having a few more grey hairs, I probably understand that ATAR scores don't mean a whole heap at the end of the day. And that's not to say you shouldn't. Please try your best, Jerry. Oh my God,
Yeah,
your
yeah.
teachers will kill me if they hear me saying that. But it's not the be all and end all, and there's lots of ways to achieve what you want out of life. So, and an ATAR score is one of a billion things that go into making up whether your life is a happy one or a successful one or not. So it's just one of the things that can help you. That's it. So don't stress too much.
Yeah, because what's it called? The ATAR, like you could take a gap year, then the ATAR wouldn't matter at all. To be honest.
Mm,
Yeah.
I
So.
know. Well, I can promise you, I've had quite a few job interviews now, and not once has anyone ever asked me about my ATAR or how I went in year 12. No one ever, no, that doesn't seem to bother. Well, maybe that's just in my industry, but no one seems to mind what my ATAR, whether my ATAR was 99 or whether my ATAR was 5. It doesn't matter. And you
Yeah.
could probably
True.
guess what it was, Jerry.
Was it fun? No, I'm joking. Oh. Anyway, nowadays you're heavily involved with the Resilience Project, obviously, as the school's program manager. So, talk us through that and how you got into the role.
Yeah, I'm very lucky. I get to work for a wonderful organisation that does some really great things, helping people helping people navigate the difficulties of life. And life is tricky at times. I've known. I'm the founding director of the company is a guy called Hugh Van Cuylenberg, who you might have seen bits and
Yeah,
pieces of. He's I guess a public figure in the health industry, and I've known him through cricket. We played cricket for many years together, and we see each other a lot. And he was looking to hire someone into a schools program role, and um, he asked me if I was keen to do it. So I was just really right time, right place. Since I arrived, I was, I think, the fourth employee, and I think we're up to about 15 or 16 employees now. So it's grown, significantly. So we've got a few more processes and process. We don't just hire people randomly like Hugh just did, but anymore. But yeah, we it's a great organisation, and you obviously know a little bit about it, which is good. But it's helping people and young people in particular um, put some practices in place to help, I guess, be happier and more resilient people. So
yeah, it definitely helped me during like lockdown because obviously it's a pretty tough period. So I just because Hugh was on the Dylan Friends podcast, so I listened to that.
yeah,
Then learned some stuff off that, then started the like gem principles, and now you're on the Jazz and Friends podcast. So it's pretty ironic how, yeah, it's fun.
yeah, it's a small world. He what so which principles have you been practicing? Which all of them, or is there one that you like them more than others? Or
Yeah, basically all of them. So like gratitude, how like being grateful for what I have and not dwelling on what I don't have. Um, empathy, like understanding how others feel and how I feel as well. And the mindfulness bit, like I've been trying to meditate every single day, which I've done for like the past 100 days or so. Which yeah,
oh,
it's put
really?
me in good stead. So yeah, just try
Oh,
to keep
mate,
that
good on
going.
you. That's easier said than done. What do you use an app or anything like that?
Yeah, I use the Headspace app, so I like the
Oh,
guided
awesome.
type meditations, which is good.
Yeah. Do you how you can scroll through on the and find like a one that suits going to sleep or one that suits winding down after a day of school, or do you like, is that how you use it? You use it to select the one that suits you for that point in time?
Yeah, so there's like different types of meditations. Like if you're stressed, you click on that. Like for sleep, all that. So I generally try to meditate around, like, let's say 6 p.m. before dinner or something, just to
Oh,
reflect on
nice.
my day. Then yeah, I feel better for it. Yeah.
Oh, awesome, mate. There's a lot of people who could learn a lot off that. That's yeah, slowing down for 10 minutes every day is a really important part of resting and recovering and reflecting, as you said.
Yeah, and do you do the gem principles as well? I presume.
Yeah, I do. I have my own journal. We have our 6 month and 21 day journals, and I have one naturally, and I'll try and send you one. Actually, you'd like it. And when I say I try, I just mean I will. I'll send you one.
Yeah. Thank you, mate.
And I use it every day to try and help me, because, like, no one's immune to struggles, and particularly now when I'm a bit more tired than I usually would be.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit more under pressure than I usually would be. It's important to take time to allow your brain and your mind an opportunity to recover and go again. Because life, everyone's got challenges in their life. So these skills of gratitude and practicing gratitude, empathy, and mindfulness, as you said earlier, which is the principles that we teach, those skills are designed to help you navigate challenging circumstances, but also just generally feel a bit happier in your day-to-day life. Because unfortunately, trauma is something that a family member will die or a pet will die. We might have a serious accident, or there's stuff that happens in life and we can't avoid it. So these positive mental health strategies help us put some systems basically in place that allow us to return to a happier state of mind, even in the event of trauma, which is really important. So
Yeah, 100%. And also read Hugh Van Cuylenberg's book, which is on the Resilience Project. It's a really amazing book, and I highly recommend it as well to people who are listening.
definitely, yeah, it's a good. I think he's you might know him. I think he sold just his 250,000th copy of the book just recently. So
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah.
it's been incredibly popular. And I think during COVID, because people have had a bit more time to read and a bit more time, on the couch, the book's been a real godsend for some people, I think. So I'm glad to hear you're ready. You should pass it on to someone now.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, right here, guys.
Jerry, you're a legend.
Oh.
Great work, mate. Great work. Have you got a favourite principle? Is one of them you like the most? Well, except for, I suppose maybe mindfulness, given that you're doing it every day.
Well, yeah, probably gratitude, because it's important to focus on what you have and not dwell on what you don't have. Because probably when I was a bit younger, like I wanted too much. Probably like, oh, I want that new phone or a new video game, but now I realize I should be more grateful on what I do have, and yeah.
Do you notice it sometimes in other people as well?
Yeah, they're like, oh, I want this, the new iPhone 12 or something, and I'm like, you got an iPhone 11, that's good enough, mate. So yeah,
Yeah, it's hard. It's a hard skill. It's something you got to practice. So good on you practicing it. Because it's hard when you watch TV and the ads tell you that you need this or you need that, and then you go to school and your friends are saying, "Oh, I got the new PlayStation," or "I got this and I got that." It's really hard because it's a lot of people think life's a competition. So getting more things means you're a better person in some people's eyes, which is obviously not the case. So yeah, good on you for practicing it, mate, because it's not all that easy sometimes.
yeah. Thanks, mate. Appreciate it. So we'll move on to a quote of a podcast, which is push yourself because no one is going to do it for you. Is there a quote or something you live by, mate? Probably the GEM principles, but is there like a specific quote or something that really ignites you?
Uh, Good question. Probably when I was teaching, the one I can't remember who mentioned it. When I was at university, we had a lecturer, a guest speaker every Friday, which I loved. It was awesome. And a guy called Tom Purcell, who I don't actually know where he's working at the moment, but he said, I think it's a pretty well-known quote, and I don't know who it's from, and I'll probably say it wrong, but he said, kids don't care what you know until they know that you care, which is probably how I tried to be as a teacher, probably unsuccessfully most of the time, but maybe successfully sometimes, I hope. One thing that I really like at the moment, that I heard a guy called Ben Crow, say, who has some wonderful work out there.
Yeah, amazing.
He helps, yeah. He
Yeah, I
says,
know him.
you know him, yeah. He's, yeah. Did you watch all the Mojo Espresso stuff on Fridays during lockdown?
Yeah, and he was also on Dill's podcast as well.
Oh, he
So
was on,
yeah.
yeah. Nothing's getting past you, mate. But I love it how he talks about, be interested. Don't try and be interesting. Um, a lot of us talk about ourselves and we're trying to, sell ourselves to other people, but actually the people you meet who are really genuine and very, and very friendly, they're often just really interested in who you are. So I like the idea of being interested, and don't try and be interesting. Um, so yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say it's like a life motto, but I listen to these
Yeah.
quotes, and some of them I'm like, oh yeah, I like that, and I want to try and do it. But it changes as well as you hear new things and great things. So, but yeah, Ben Crow's work's fantastic as well, and there's a lot of crossover with the Resilience Project too.
Yeah, that's true. And his main quote, I think, is "Embrace your weird," which is quite interesting, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. Oh, we're all a bit weird in some way, Jerry.
Yeah, 100%, mate. And I'm not sure if you're a big reader, but what's the last book you've read?
uh, the last book I haven't finished this book, and it's been a bit of a work in progress actually. I haven't flown through it, but it's a book by. It's called "Ego is the Enemy." Who's the author? It's escaped me now. Um, oh God, that's embarrassing. But yeah, it's called "Ego is the Enemy," and it's essentially about trying to put yourself, or trying to not make decisions and behave based on your ego's response, and try and make decisions and behave based on what's the right thing to do, or with other people's. It's a book about empathy in many ways, in a very detailed way. So, but that's a really poor book review. So maybe delete that one.
Yeah.
It is a good book though. It's a really valuable tool. Really valuable tool.
Yeah, just quickly googled it. It's by Ryan Holiday. I don't know
Brian
if you.
Holiday.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
yes, yes. God.
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh.
he's done a lot
Anyway,
of good work in that space.
yeah. So anyway, this is one of my favorite bits of a podcast. So, do you have any funny stories either from school, any camps, or work that you remember fondly? That just like sticks in your brain. You're like, oh, this story I just remember pretty well.
I was trying to rack my brain for a funny story when you mentioned, if you've got any funny stories. And I was like, I don't think I've got any funny stories at all. But I'm my one of my favorite stories at the moment is about my wife. Actually, so when we decided to call our daughter Maeve, we obviously like the sex education series, and the main character is Maeve, as we were talking about just before. And but she's a teacher too. And what's really funny, and I hope that any of the students who listen to this don't take this the wrong way, but if either of us had, like when we were trying to work out what names that we'd like, if either of if either of us taught a student who we didn't like, because teachers do like and not like students, by the way, Jerry, just
Yeah,
in
yeah.
case you didn't know. But if Gemma was like, I really like the name Jerry, and I was like, no, 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 I taught a Jerry, and he was awful. He was so mean. No, no way. That name's off the list. Um, so we used to go through, and that's how we'd work out. Often, that's how we'd scratch names off our list of names that we liked. But anyway, the name Maeve, we decided on, and Gemma taught a young girl called Maeve. She's a prep teacher. And she taught Maeve, and this young girl called Maeve, and she had some hearing difficulties. And so she used to wear a hearing aid. And when she was at school, Gemma would have to wear a microphone around her neck. And Gemma teaches at a Catholic school, so they'd go to church every Friday. And one time that when they were in church, Gemma had forgotten to take off the microphone. So it was still, so the microphone goes directly to Maeve's ear. And Gemma had forgotten to take off the microphone, and she was singing carols and hymns. And Gemma was, singing away to whatever hymn that they were singing. And Maeve, who was a really beautiful young girl, very polite and very quiet, she turned around and got Gemma's attention and told her to stop singing because it was so bad. So, I love that story, and it's going to be a story we were able to tell to everyone forever about how bad my wife's singing is. So yeah, I like that one. I don't know if anyone else will find it funny, but
Yeah.
Embrace your weird, hey, Jerry.
Yeah, yeah, 100%, mate. Oh. Um, so obviously we spoke about briefly maybe sports earlier, but talk us through your love for sports because you taught PE, and I presume you love your sports. Obviously, you met Hugh through cricket at Melbourne Uni. I'm guessing, yeah.
Mm. Yep. Yeah. So I still coach. I've been coaching there for now about 5 years. So Hugh was in fact a coach before I was, and then when sort of work got too busy for him, I took it over. Or he actually had a young kid at that time too, and then I managed to take on the coaching, the head coaching job. Yeah. So cricket's my favourite sport. I love it. I love my footy too, but cricket's sort of my no. I know. In fact, I like all sports. I watch a lot of sport, as you can probably imagine.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I'm still heavily involved in the cricket club as coach, and I went there when I was 15 to
Oh
play
wow.
in an under 16 team, and I basically never left. And I think it's because I just love being around. It's like another family. Like you get to hang out with all these people who have a common interest. So it's like having another family. For that reason, I think team sport is an incredibly powerful tool for young people learning. And if you get great role models, and look, sometimes there's not great role models, and that's
Yeah.
a different story. But yeah, I mean, I'll certainly be pushing Maeve within reason to play sport because I think it's a great learning tool for young people, and also I love it. So hopefully it's cricket, and hopefully she plays for Australia. But
Yeah.
no pressure.
No pressure. Yeah. Yeah. Cricket's an amazing sport, mate.
What's your
Um,
favourite sport, Jerry?
Probably footy because that was my like first ever thing I really got into, like Oz kick and all
Yep.
that. So yeah.
Who do
No, I
you
love
who
all
do you
sports.
follow?
Ah, the Kangas.
Oh
Yeah.
boy, no good,
Who do you
no
go for,
good.
mate?
I'm Collingwood, so I'm not much better at the moment
Oh
either.
yeah.
They haven't covered themselves in glory through the trade period.
Yeah, that's true. What about like other sports in terms of like NBA, soccer? Do you have a team in any of those
Uh,
sports?
I not in the NBA. I haven't got into the NBA as much. I love the NBA. I love a lot of the stuff about it. But I haven't really got a team. I follow the Australian players over there.
Oh, like Ben Simmons
Um,
and etc.
yeah, and
Yeah.
Dante Exum, and yeah, and Dellavedova. But I follow the Premier League in England a little bit further. And my sister's he's from England and he follows the Tottenham Hotspurs. So,
Oh, yeah.
oh no, who do you
I
go
don't mind.
for?
I go for Leicester.
Leicester. Oh, Leicester. Was that
Yeah. Yeah.
after they won? Did you jump on the bandwagon?
Oh, well, during that season, but yeah. I
Oh,
probably a bit before, but yeah.
yeah, several years before, I reckon, Jerry.
Yeah, yeah. They're going pretty well at the moment,
No,
so yeah.
in fact, if you like the Premier League, you should watch a TV series called Ted
Ted
Lasso.
Lasso. Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
finished
have
it.
you
Yeah,
watched it?
yeah.
Oh,
Amazing.
it is. I'm not joking. I think that's the best TV series I've ever seen in my whole life. It's got everything. It's so good, and it's about sport, but it's not really about sport either. It's about
Yeah, it's about
relationships.
everything.
It's fantastic, absolutely fantastic. So you should try and get. What's the main character's name? You should send him an email. Try and get him on the show.
Yeah,
Jason,
yeah,
what's his name? Jason.
yeah. It's
Oh,
some weird surname, but yeah,
yeah,
hard to
get him on the
pronounce.
show,
Yeah,
mate.
yeah, for sure. I try for sure. And just quickly about cricket, mate. So are you a batter or a bowler, mate?
I'm a batter, but I did do a little bit of bowling every now and again. But yeah, I was primarily a batter, but I never was that good at batting that I had to do a bit of bowling to try and make myself valuable. So, but yeah, but I was a batter. I was a batter. I'd love to say I was a good one, but I think I was a very average one.
Yeah, fair enough. I just had well, I'm playing my first season of cricket. So we get a go for like batting and bowling. I'm probably better at batting because I've made a few not
Yeah.
outs, but mate, the other day
Who are
I
you
got
playing for? Flemington Colts?
Gulls. You know the Walter Street Reserve in Askerville. That's where we
Oh,
train and
yeah,
play.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, playing for
Oh,
them.
awesome.
Yeah,
And you're
it's
enjoying
interesting.
it?
Yeah, having lots of fun. Except we could probably get smacked every week, but aside from that, it's pretty fun.
Oh, mate, that's awesome. I'll have to come down and have a look. That's not too far from where I live. So I'm in West Footscray.
Oh yeah,
Um, so Walter Street's just down the road.
yeah, great. Have you got any tips for me quickly? Because the other day I got LBW'd for duck, which I wasn't too happy with. So
um, I got any tips? Um, it's hard to know without looking at your play, but the best way to not get out LBW is to hit the ball. If you hit the
oh
ball, you can't get out LBW. I'm sure
yeah.
someone said that to you before, though.
Oh
No, don't play cricket because you want to have play cricket because you want to have fun, and most of the time having fun's trying to score runs, like hitting boundaries, or
yeah.
um, don't try and not get out. A lot of people just try and not get out, and it's stressful. When you try and have fun and hit the ball, and hit boundaries and score runs, or take wickets if you're bowling, that's the stuff that's fun. You should try and do that. Don't listen to people who tell you to. Um, just don't get out. Don't get out. Just defend everything, Jerry. Don't listen to those people. Try and score runs because it's way more fun.
Yeah, good advice, mate. Thanks for that.
When you get out trying to hit a six, I'll expect a phone call. So
Yeah. I only hit fours along the ground, mate. Try not to go aerials. Yeah.
smart. I like it. But just remember, Jerry, there's more room in the air. There's less
Oh,
fielders up there.
yeah, that's true, mate. Oh. And just speaking about sports, so true or false? When you read a newspaper, you turn to the back of a newspaper for the sports news. Do you do that?
Oh, true. True every
True.
time. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Do you do
highly
that?
relatable. Yeah, 100%. Have to. Yeah. So what are your fears? Mine are like snakes and spiders. What are yours?
uh, I don't love flying. I don't like being on airplanes. They really freak me out. I like sharks are probably the thing that get me when I go out. I spend a lot of time at the surf coast over summer. I haven't this summer, but I try to, and I'm always pretty wary of the sharks. They make me a little bit nervous, but most of the time I'm on land, so it's not a problem. But yeah, flying's the one thing for me that makes me really anxious.
Yeah, I haven't been on a plane in a while, but yeah, it probably gets me as well.
Yeah, that's when I need to practice my breathing techniques to try and slow down my heart rate. So your mindfulness or meditation
Yeah,
comes into it.
100%. So briefly talk us through. Obviously, Hugh again. You know him pretty well. Because I read the book about a week or two ago, and I learned a few things. How like stands in and the stories about um yeah, there were a few others, but Beefy as well. He seems like a pretty extraordinary fella. So you want to talk us through those two fellas?
Yeah, yeah. So Hugh's the founding director, who's written the book, and essentially he created the Resilience Project based on his story of meeting Stunzen, who's the young boy in India, up in the far north of India in a little place called Tixay, who he met and was just blown away with how much joy this boy was filled with. And he had, at the time, his elder sister was suffering from some really severe mental health battles with anorexia nervosa in particular. So um, the Resilience Project is, I guess, founded on the story of this young boy who seemingly had nothing, no running water. They slept on the floor. These young people, but yet they were so happy and filled with joy, in comparison to his sister at the time, who, despite having a loving family and being given a great education and kind of everything she ever wanted, she found it really hard to be happy, and as a result suffered some serious mental health battles. So the principles of gratitude, empathy, and mindfulness were born out of that. They're based on research, so it's all very thoroughly and scientifically backed. And I get, which is really important to know. They're not just plucked out of thin air, but but it's based on those two stories. And unfortunately, a lot of people here in Australia do find it hard to be happy all the time. And probably you could generalize that and say in Western society, there's a lot of people who find it hard to be happy, all the time. And so practicing gratitude, empathy, and mindfulness are really important skills. Hugh says a lot. He thinks that gratitude, empathy, and mindfulness will be a part of our curriculum at school level, in the next 5 to 10 years, which would be a wonderful thing. But yeah, I mean, the statistics, I don't know if you know them, Jerry, but it's 1 in 7 primary school kids at the moment. So most primary school classes have about 30 kids, 25, 30 kids in them. So 4 kids under the age of sort of 12 in each classroom are suffering some sort of mental health illness, which is pretty devastating. And then it's much worse in secondary school. It's about 1 in 4 women or girls and 1 in 5 boys. So, and that's specifically in relation to anxiety. So there's a bit of and that's why they had the mental health commission recently, and there's obviously a lot of government money being spent on what the next steps are for us as a society, to help our next generation be happier and more resilient. So, and we hope that the Resilience Project can play a part of that. Hugh's the founder of that and the mastermind behind it, and he's a brilliant man. Like he's the best public speaker I've ever seen, and his ideas and his drive to help people is pretty amazing. You should come along to one of his public talks if you like the book and you like listening to Dylan Friends. You'd love one of his podcasts. You'd love his public talks, and I think we've got one coming up in Melbourne. All things being equal, and COVID doesn't ruin anything, we'll have one in Melbourne at some stage in the next few months. And Beefy, Nick Burke, is I know Nick very well. He came to my wedding. He's still involved at Melbourne Uni Cricket Club, so he's still our chief hydration officer. And he still gives us pep talks quite regularly. Beefy's a mad Collingwood supporter, as you know, so I go to the footy with him. Yeah, correct. So I get to go to the footy with him every now and again. But Beefy's, you'll never meet anyone like him. He's the kindest, most passionate sort of person you'll ever meet. Like he loves talking. Like his favorite thing to do is talk. We should get him on your podcast actually, Jez, and you can interview him.
I'd love to. Yeah,
100%. He just loves talking. But he doesn't waste his words too much either. He's a deep thinker, and he's got a very good view on the world and how the world should be. And in particular, how Collingwood should pick their team every week. So, Nick Burke's a legend. So he's an absolute legend. And he's someone who's suffered, some physical ill health over his time, but it's not deterred him at all. He gets back on the bike, so to speak, and keeps powering along and contributing really positively to other people's lives. So he's a great human being, Nick.
Yeah, it's really amazing. Yeah, I'd love to get him on the podcast and check out his amazing pep talks as well. We were talking about mental health earlier. Like last year, I went through like a difficult time with mental health, and I've been through. I know what it's like, but it's a big topic. Like just generally, like for particularly like the youth, like people my age and like younger as well. So like, what do you reckon in terms of like awareness and like what needs to be done to like improve the statistics? Because I'm not sure, but I thought it was getting slightly worse as well, because it used to be like 1 in 6 that suffered a mental illness or something, but during the lockdown it went up to like 1 in 7 youth or something like that. But
I think the trend does seem to be getting worse. There does seem to be more people presenting with depression and anxiety in particular, but there's also quite a few other mental illnesses out there, like anorexia nervosa, which we mentioned briefly before. But it's a really complex thing. Like it's so complex, and I don't think there's a very simple answer. I think there's a lot of things about our society that don't help us on that journey, and in particular, this whole, we consume everything, and a lot of us, and I suppose this is the gratitude part, but a lot of us have that belief that if I earn more money, or I have a bigger house, or I get more certificates, or I achieve more, then I am more as a person. Um, and practicing gratitude helps us understand that I have all these skills as a human already, and I don't need to live in a bigger house or drive a nicer car or anything like that, because those skills are with me, and those traits are with me all the time. But I need to think about them and understand them, and use them. And similarly, all the other stuff that's external in our environments that we already have. But a lot of us seem to chase the dream of, you get a job promotion, and then it's like, right, what's next? Where's my next job promotion coming? And then what's next after that? And what's next after that? And this sort of idea of being perfect, which everyone knows. And I guess that's where that embrace the weird comment comes from Ben Crow. No one's perfect. No one can be perfect. And if we pursue trying to be perfect, we'll never get there. And the likelihood is we'll probably, unfortunately, be miserable trying to do it, because we'll never achieve anything, because we're trying to achieve this thing that doesn't exist called perfection. Yeah, and look, there's social media that plays a massive part in that. Advertising plays a big part in that. The news, to a certain degree, plays a big part in
Yeah.
that. I would always encourage young people to tread carefully with social media in particular, and how they want to consume information, and why they consume information. The why is probably the really important thing, but it can be a pretty slippery slope. And I often think about young girls in particular, and and how a lot of them use social media, and it's often to compare themselves to other young girls. So this idea of body image gets exacerbated considerably, and often really negatively for young people, where they're trying to chase this ideal body type or whatever it might be. It happens for boys too, certainly. They're not immune to it, but yeah, it's very complex, and I could probably bore you to tears with it. But yeah, I think the big thing for me is I would encourage young people to consider what they want to use social media for, and why they want to use social media, and challenge themselves on it. Because if you're mindlessly using social media, often someone's trying to sell you something, or tell you that you're not good enough. That the advertising industry is built on this idea that you're not good enough as a person until you buy this product or have this thing or whatever. So it's this constant message of you're not good enough, which is not true. It's not true. So anyway, there's a bit of a rant for you.
Yeah, fair enough. Because I know you love watching a bit of Netflix, but I saw the show The Social Dilemma. So I'm not sure if
Mm,
you've seen it, but it's about like social media usage and how they can just play around with you. So I've been like trying to get my screen time down, um because of that social dilemma. Because like, pretend if you're just scrolling through Instagram, half an hour can just go by so quickly. So it's good
mhm.
to like set limits and yeah, do that sort of stuff.
Especially when there's good books out there to read, and good Netflix TV series to watch. Most of us will watch a TV series, and at the same time we'll have Facebook going, or Instagram or Snapchat or something going in the background. And as you know a little bit about mindfulness, but mindfulness is our ability to basically be calm and present at any
Yeah,
given moment. And if we're watching a TV show and we're on Instagram, we're already stretching our brain, unnecessarily, and consuming, an unnecessary amount of information. And also, we're not watching the TV. Like, we either want to watch the TV show or we don't. Like, anyway, let's not rant about that as well. But I would encourage you, Jerry, to turn off. See how you go if you turn off your notifications. Turn them all off, and
yeah,
yeah, I know, I
yeah.
know, I know. Maybe try with a few apps, because the reason notifications exist is to try and get you to go back on your phone. You probably heard this on the Social Dilemma, but every time you go into an app, the way apps make money, generally speaking, is through the attention economy, which is basically advertising. So if I want to advertise something, apps that are more used by people, advertising companies will pay more to be advertised on those, because more people go on there and they spend more time on those apps. So notifications are designed to get you back on the app, because the advertising companies will pay more money because you're going back on the app. So that's one of the ways, one of quite a lot of ways. But so I'd encourage you to see how you go. Turn off your notifications, Jerry, and see how you go. It's a tough one to do. Tough one to do.
Yeah, maybe one app at a time. I'll try that.
You got to start somewhere.
Yeah, baby steps, mate. Yeah,
that's it.
It's good.
That's it.
I've got a few more for you, mate. So what motivates you the most and why?
I think helping people is the reason I get out of bed in the morning. I don't think there's much more to it. I think that's my, I don't know exactly what my purpose is. Something I'm trying to iron out is, what literally is my purpose. But I think, it's about helping people and trying to assist others to enjoy their life and experience their life to its fullest capacity. So it all sounds a bit cliche and all sounds a bit simple perhaps as well. But I think the reason I get out of bed in the morning is to try and help other people. And it's as simple as that for me.
Yeah, it's a really good trait to have, mate. Mine would probably be similar. I love being a leader and stuff, like helping out around school and stuff. And probably also just to, I don't know, see where life takes me, because obviously I've still got a fair few years to go until probably get a full-time job or something. But yeah, it's good to work hard and see where it takes me. Yeah.
You should be curious and adventurous. You'll probably, the retirement age, you'll probably be 90 by the time you're ready to retire. So I'd encourage you to go and explore the world while you can.
Yeah, that's true. Probably maybe not 90, but 80, close to 80, I reckon. Yeah. They should bump down the retirement thing. It's pretty unfair, but yeah, I can't do much about that.
That would suit me fine as well, mate. I'm happy to retire. In fact, I reckon another 5 years, I'll be good to go. Retire.
Yeah, mate. Hang up the boots or whatever, like footy. Yeah. So what's next for you in 2021? What are your top 3 or 4 goals or something?
I don't have any goals specifically, but it's a big. Well, firstly, my family. I'm learning how to be a good father, or trying and be a good father, and I'm learning how to try and be a good father as well as trying to be a good husband. So that's very new and very exciting, but it's challenging. Work for me, our work's got a lot busier, and we've hired a few extra people to help out in the school space. So I think work will change a little bit and become a bit more, you'll be a bit busier and a bit more full on, which is good. And we're trying to find new ways to continue to reach more young students to help them. So the challenge is on for us to do it better and keep helping more people across the country and potentially internationally as well. So they're probably my 2 big things probably for 2021. But the main thing is to try and be a good husband and particularly learn how to be a father, because I can assure you, Jerry, I have no idea what I'm doing. I make it up as I go.
Changing a few nappies already, mate, yeah?
Yes, I'm changing. What she does do well is she sleeps well. She goes to the toilet very well, and she eats very well. So she's nailed those 3 things so far. I'm changing loads of nappies.
That's good, mate. And finally, I've asked you a fair few questions. You can ask me one question, nothing about the podcast, because People ask too much about the podcast, so far away, mate. Be creative.
Okay. Um, what's the best shot you've ever hit in cricket?
Yeah, I haven't hit a few. I've hit a few, but not too many. Yeah, I've hit like two boundaries, so probably like a cheeky cover drive. I love that shot.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
and a back foot kind of like pull shot off the spinner, which went for four as well. I like that shot. So yeah, those two are
Uh,
my main ones, I
There's a
reckon.
bit of Steve Smith about that, Jerry. You can go through
Yeah,
the offside and the onside.
I reckon I should play a bit more back foot because that suits me better. I reckon. Yeah, like Steve Smith.
Yeah, mate. If you can emulate Steve Smith, you'd be going all right, I reckon. Um, I agree. The
Yeah,
back foot's the way to go, mate. It's easier.
yeah, because the ball travels pretty quickly, so back foot, just wait for it to come. Yep.
So what's the name of the goals? Is it the
Yeah,
goals?
yeah, Flemington Gulls. So
Yeah,
yeah,
awesome. I'll keep an eye out. I'm going to go and look it up after this.
yeah. Cheers, mate. So we'll wrap up now. So thanks for tuning into the Jez and Friends podcast, everybody. Remember, push yourself because no one else is going to do it for you. Anthony, I really appreciate you giving some of your time to jump on the podcast for a catch up. It's great what you and the rest of the team at the Resilience Project are doing, and I wish you all the best for the future, mate. Appreciate it.
You're a legend, Jerry. Great work, mate. I love what you're doing. Keep it up.